Welcome back from the ad break. We are still doing our grade 12 lesson, Industrial Analysis Tools. We started with the SWOT analysis and then we did the Porter's 5-force model. Now we are on to the last industrial analysis tool, which is called PESTLE. Right, with PESTLE, it's an acronym. So P stands for political. That's what we're going to start with. But here is a tip. It says ensure that your recommendations, they link with a specific challenge. What does it mean? With this particular strategy or industrial analysis tool rather, we are going to be looking at the challenges, and for every challenge as a business, we know that we need to recommend, we need to come up with the recommendations to say, here is a strategy or here's a challenge rather, so now here is a recommendation for that challenge. So whatever challenge, it needs to have a recommendation, but the recommendation must link. Right, so with political, what are we talking about? It says here, some government policies may affect businesses because the government, they come up with the policies. Remember, here's the important thing with this one, with the PESTLE, it's what? It is a macro environment. And what do we know about macro environment? We've got no control at all. There is no control here. So it's very important that we remember this when we are doing this particular topic. So PESTLE, political, it says here some government policies may affect businesses. The policies that they came up with, for example, you've got your, what's this? There's so many policies that the government has. Affirmative action, it says a policy that may affect businesses. So what should the business do? The business should research the recent government policies so that we can understand. Right, it says here consumer rights may prevent businesses from selling products if they do not meet certain requirements. Remember, with the consumer rights, we've got a legislation called National Consumer Rights. So they dictate or they tell us exactly as a business to say this should be sold or this should not be sold to the businesses. Therefore, it becomes a challenge because we are told that no, that cannot go to them onto the market or to the customers, or else we can be reported. So it becomes a challenge. Like I said, we've got no control. So what could happen or what should be done? Network and lobby with the NGOs and all consumer rights organizations. So you can do that. Right, and then another challenge for a political environment, trade agreements may prevent businesses from importing some medicine or products. We know there are certain policies that as a business we need to abide by or comply. We can't just be importing and exporting, so we need to follow the trade agreement. So that becomes a challenge. So the recommendations, trade only with the countries that have favorable trade agreements with the government to avoid all the drama, basically. And then now we go to the second one. Like I said, it's an acronym that was political. We are done with political. Now we're looking at economic. Economic, think of money. Yes. Right. So when they say economic, what do they mean here? Inflation or interest rates may negatively impact on businesses. As you know, inflation rate can increase. You've got your repo rates that are increasing. So all of that, it can negatively impact on businesses. So what should a business do? They need to consider decreasing the profit margins rather than increasing product prices. Why? Because sometimes they can increase the price of the product, but still we're not making any profit because the customers cannot afford the prices. So rather, let us decrease our profit margins, but hopefully it makes business sense. So you can decrease the profit margin, but not increase the price of the product. Right, loans may be expensive due to the high interest rate. What is a loan? Remember, as a business, maybe you can go and borrow money to increase or to get capital, maybe. So it can be expensive due to the interest rate. So what should the business do? They can borrow money from financial institutions when the interest rates are favorable. So as a business, we need to be very mindful of the economic climate, if I may put it that way. We can't just be borrowing money at any given time. So we need to check. We need to take that into consideration. Right, and then fluctuations in foreign currencies may restrict import. So what is a recommendation? Consider exchange rates when trading with the other countries. I hope you can see that there is a link here. For every challenge, there is a recommendation. It is linking. So we cannot speak about inflation, but yet the recommendation, we are saying consider the exchange rate. It does not make sense if we do it that way. So it needs to link. Right, and then we do the third one, which is social. Now, when you think of social, definitely thinking of people. You're thinking of the anything that has to do with people, basically. And who is people in this instance? We're talking about customers. So customers may not be able to afford products due to what? Due to low income levels. So here you can be reminded of the socioeconomic issues here. So the low income levels or high unemployment, maybe high unemployment rate is increasing. So if there's high unemployment rate and then people are going to lose their jobs, and when they lose their jobs, maybe they don't have money to support us or to buy from our business. So maybe also with the low income levels. So what do? Recommendation: we sell the substitute or generic products at a lower price to say, yes, we are aware that you used to buy product A for, I don't know, whatever amount, maybe it was 50 rands or whatever, and then now we are going to product B. It's the same thing, but it's just a substitute. It's not the same brand, but it's a substitute product. So we're saying it can be sold at maybe a cheaper price. So instead of you now going to another store, you can still support this business. However, now you've changed the brand, but however, it's the same product. So you are selling substitute or generic products. Right, so another challenge for social: businesses may not be conversant with the language of the customers, because we meet different customers on a daily basis. Some customers, maybe they speak like different languages. So maybe as the people that we've employed, they don't speak all the languages. So what can we do? We then can hire local languages or learn local languages or hire employees who are well conversant with the local language. Imagine as a customer, or when a customer comes here and then we greet them with whatever language. Sometimes you didn't want to buy, but because now you're like, oh, I'm in this country, I'm from another country, but yet I met a person that understands my language. That definitely will melt your heart. So as a business, that's what we should do, because we want to make the customers to feel welcome and be happy. Right, so these are our social issues. Right, we then move on to technological. Remember I said to you, it is an acronym. So technological, what does it mean? Or how is that a challenge? I hope you understand. We don't explain it, we don't define it, but how is it a challenge? Right, businesses may not keep up with or be aware of the latest technology. As you know, technology keeps on changing rather, or improving. Since we are going towards a fourth industrial revolution, a lot of things are done through technology. We're going through e-commerce. People are buying online. There's online shopping. So a lot of things are done online. Basically, there's what we call e-commerce, electronical buying. Basically, buying and selling. Everything happens online. So it becomes a challenge, because sometimes businesses may not keep up with or be aware of the latest technology. So what should happen? Continuous research on the latest available technology or equipment in the market. So research is very important. It needs to happen. Right, employees may not be skilled to operate or maintain new technology or equipment. So if they do not have the skill, what do you do as a business? Right, exactly. You train the existing or appoint new employees to maintain or use new equipment. What happens if you don't train them? There's going to be mistakes, maybe lack of productivity, and if that's the case, bad publicity, which eventually will lead to a bad publicity means what? We're going to lose on what? On sales, maybe not making enough profit because of we did not train our employees. Right, another challenge here of technological: businesses may not be able to afford new technology, so affordability can become a problem. So what must we do, or what is the recommendation for that? Compare prices or select suitable suppliers for new equipment at reasonable prices. So we need to check who's going to give us at a reasonable price. may not be able to cater for or afford online transactions or e-commerce. I've mentioned what e-commerce is all about, buying electronically or buying online. So we may not be able to cater for or afford. So it becomes a challenge. So what must happen? Businesses must be geared for online trading or e-commerce. Right, now we move on to L, which stands for legal. Right, so think of legislation. Right, so it says here, certain acts may have a direct impact on a business. Remember, no control. Remember, with legislation, we need to do what? We need to comply, because if we don't comply, obviously there are penalties. So certain acts may have a direct impact on businesses. So what must happen? We need to comply with all the relevant legislations that can impact on the business. Legalities of a business contract may limit the business operations. So what must happen? Businesses must know the legalities of business contracts so that they can comply with all the requirements. Another challenge here, high legal costs involved in obtaining a license or trademark or patent may prevent some establishments. So what should happen? The recommendation for this challenge is that budget for high legal establishment cost. Then we're going to the last one, which is environmental. Right, chemicals or ingredients in business products may be harmful to customers. Sometimes maybe whatever business that you are operating in, and maybe not mindful of the environment, and then maybe there's air pollution. It's going to affect our customers definitely. So what is the recommendation? Chemicals or ingredients should be clearly indicated on labels or packaging to inform customers about possible side effects or the correct use of the products. Even the Consumer Protection Act states clearly that there should be information on the product. Right, measures to dispose of business waste may be expensive. So what should happen? Implement cost-effective measures to dispose of medical waste. I repeat again, for every challenge, there is a recommendation. Right. Packaging of some of the products may not be environmentally friendly or may not be recyclable. It is very important that we try to minimize pollution as much as we can as a business. So sometimes it becomes a problem, it becomes a challenge, because some of the packaging may not be environmentally friendly. So what should happen? Implement recycling measures to prevent pollution of the environment, or use packaging that is reusable or recyclable, like using your paper straws maybe, because they are biodegradable. So that's what can happen. Right, so we have come to the end of our lesson. I'm sure you've learned because we did the industrial analysis tools. We started with the SWOT analysis, and then we went on to the Porter's 5-force model, and then we concluded with the PESTLE, which is an acronym as explained just now. I hope you've learned so much, because I have learned and I've enjoyed the lesson. So from me, Ms. Mabue, I will see you next time. Goodbye.